Can you describe the scenes for us this morning?
Good morning, Peter. Well, at the moment, traffic's flowing really freely across all of our former border checkpoints. I'm really happy to report that. I think it'll take a little while just for the community to get used to not having those checkpoints in place. We'll see a few diversions later on tonight when we need to remove some concrete barricading on the M1.
So what sort of delays might drivers be looking at today, Mark?
Yeah, from 7 p.m. Queenslander time this evening, we will see the northbound lanes of the M1 shut, and they will shut overnight. Traffic will be diverted over onto the Gold Coast Highway and then across to Stewart Road. And by about 6 a.m. Our time, all of that concrete barricading should be removed. Peter, we've had to shut the road because there's hundreds of metres of concrete barricading, and the only way to safely remove it is to actually shut both carriageways. And the diversions will not add much time to people's journeys.
OK, no worries. Well, I was going to ask you about that process to remove those concrete barricades. Can you describe for our audience what that entails, Mark?
Yeah, it'll entail very heavy vehicles with some crane to actually pick up those concrete barriers one by one and load them onto the truck. And to do that, as I said, the only way we can do that safely is to actually temporarily close the northbound lanes. So it's a bit of a complex and a little bit of a hazardous operation. And we just want to make sure, we've been here 250 days, we want to make sure that no one's hurt and there isn't any undue delay, but it is necessary.
So how many of them are there? How many of those barricades are there?
Oh, it goes for well over 500 metres, so there's dozens of them, and they all weigh up to a tonne each, so it's a fairly big operation to remove them. When we put them into place, we had to do the same thing. We had to shut the northbound lanes and put them in overnight. Look, at that time of night, Peter, the traffic flow is fairly low, so disruption should be fairly minor. And I think in the big scheme of things, if I can ask people just to be a little bit more patient for a few more hours, you will not know we were even here by this time tomorrow.
OK, so this time tomorrow it should all be wrapped up?
Yeah, that's right. We anticipate being out by 6 a.m, 6 a.m. New South Wales time. So all going well, the M1, those northbound lanes will be open and traffic will be flowing freely.
Are you happy to be pulling up stumps, Mark, and letting the Southerners in?
Oh, Peter, absolutely. Look, this was tremendous news for all of us, and particularly the Tweed and Coolangatta communities. They're now reunited, if you like. The lives of the people here are interwoven, and of course there have been some really difficult periods over the last 250 days. But ultimately, this has been about keeping COVID-19 out of Queensland, and I really do thank the community for their patience during this time. They've been absolutely wonderful. And now it's time to go back to normal in terms of being able to travel across our borders.
How did, on the whole, Mark, how did travellers perform? What would be your report card?
Oh, look, Peter, I've got to give them an A because we not only caused them delays, but we actually changed their patterns of life. You know, people who were commuting daily across both sides, either into Queensland or into New South Wales and then back into Queensland, they really had to change their lifestyles in some respects. You know, having to get up earlier and leave to get your kids to school to make it on time, people going to work, people going to doctors' appointments and the like. So it has had a significant effect on them for this period. But as I said, it's been one of those things that's been necessary, unfortunately. We're in a pandemic.
About what percentage, would you say, Mark, were those who didn't obey the law?
Look, a really small percentage, and to put this in scale, Peter, across Queensland, across our checkpoints, we've intercepted well over 1 million vehicles, which is a staggering number. We turned around about 21,000 people during that period. In that time also, we've put about 1,300 people into quarantine from our road border checkpoints. And the vast majority of people were doing the right thing. A lot of people turned up just simply not understanding the process. And remembering too that this is the 17th iteration of border restrictions, and today is actually the 18th iteration. So sometimes it's taken the community a little bit to catch up, and we've really tried to help them on the side of the road with our partner agencies.
And just finally, I know you hope that this won't be the case, but will you be ready to go if indeed the Premier says, righto, well, I'm a bit worried about an outbreak in Sydney, we've got to put those barricades back up again?
Yeah, we've done some detailed planning around that across the state, Peter, and we would be able to reinstitute border controls in 24 hours. Of course, we hope that's not the case, but we would be ready to do that if it's necessary. I think everyone's got to remember, don't become complacent. This horrible thing is still with us. COVID is still here, and that's why we'll be making sure that we check people coming in into our airports from the last designated hotspots in Adelaide.